Welcome, my soft-thinking listener. You've found yourself in the company of the sleepy sloth once again. A slow, scientifically minded fellow, who enjoys facts about things that no one truly needs, and yet, are strangely comforting to know. Today, I consider myself a scientist in the gentle and profoundly uneventful field of Roblox game creation history. A scientist who is almost always correct, except for those few times when perhaps I am not. But even then, I prefer to drift onward slowly, never rushing, because what truly matters is the information itself, drifting past us like a cloud that does not mind being unnoticed. Before I start, please let me know, what is the most boring thing you would secretly love hearing about? Let me know gently in the comments. Now, let us begin today's episode about the exceedingly calm history of the game. Grow a garden. This is not a dramatic tale. There are no battles here, no sudden twists, no shouts or flashes, only a long, unhurried unfolding. It is, instead, the soft story of digital soil, of virtual seeds, and of a creator named BMW Lux, who, at just 16 years of age, on March 25th, in the year 2025, quietly, and with unassuming dedication, created the initial version of Grow a Garden in just a few days. Not a week, not a month, just a few days, each one passing softly into the next, like the slow settling of dust in a room no one enters, where time itself seems to stretch and yawn. One can imagine the slow assembly of game elements, piece by piece, screen by screen, each asset placed not with urgency, but with that curious combination of youth's enthusiasm and a gardener's patience. The choice of carrot seeds was perhaps not made for excitement, nor to impress, but rather because they are so very ordinary, and therefore so very dependable. Carrots, needing no unusual climate, growing well in sandy loam, known in reality for their gentle sprouting time, became the perfect symbol for a game about waiting. They are familiar, almost comfortingly so, a vegetable that crosses borders and seasons, recognized by countless players without explanation. And so, even in their digital form, they carry with them the quiet reassurance of growth that happens slowly, whether or not anyone is watching. Let us float gently onward to the following day, March 26, when Grow a Garden was released officially on Roblox. Was not a day marked by fanfare or by noisy announcements, but by the gentle arrival of something meant to be played quietly over time. It featured idle farming mechanics, which means the player need not hurry, need not click frantically, need not measure their progress in seconds or minutes, but instead may simply plant their digital carrots and wait. Waiting is a beautiful, uneventful art, and in this game, The art was rewarded, not with bursts of color or sudden achievements, but with the gradual, predictable, and deeply soothing growth of plants. This growth was paired with the gathering of a currency named, quite charmingly, shekels. Not coins, not dollars, not any form of high-stakes tender, but shekels, each one earned through unhurried progress, each one appearing in its own time, like the slow drip of water from a mossy stone, where no one is keeping count. Yet the stone still darkens slowly with dampness. The game even allowed offline growth, meaning that even when a player closed the game, perhaps to rest, or to wander away for hours, or even days, the garden, in its silent patience, continued to grow. Plants sprouted in the absence of watchful eyes. Harvests awaited in quiet readiness. And the player returned not to surprises, but to the slow, inevitable results of time passing. In this way, Grow a Garden became a game about trust, and about the quiet magic of things that happen without your constant watchfulness, like the unseen turning of seasons. In April of 2025, the game's journey took a turn, though not a sharp or hurried one, more like the slow bending of a tree branch under the weight of spring rain. It was in this month that Splitting Point Studios, a Roblox development group led by the well-known creator Jandal, acquired a 50% share in Grow a Garden. This was not the sort of transaction that rushes, or crackles with tension, but rather one of those quiet business movements that, much like the spreading of roots beneath soil, continues unseen until it has already settled firmly in place. At the time of this acquisition, the game's concurrent user count hovered at around 1,000. A modest number when compared to the bustling digital cities elsewhere in Roblox, but one that reflected a steady, unforced growth. These players were like a community of gardeners, each tending their own patch of pixelated land, unbothered by the larger competitions that played out across the platform. In this small but dedicated group, every click of planting a seed or harvesting a carrot felt meaningful, as if each individual was part of a slow and gentle ritual. The agreement with Splitting Point Studios was less a sudden shift, and more a careful tending, the way a gardener might stake a young plant to support its quiet climb toward the sun, giving it just enough strength to grow without breaking its natural rhythm. The new partnership promised not fireworks, but the slow, reassuring certainty of growth, a partnership rooted in patience and care, much like the game itself. By May 17 of 2025, something had changed, though even this change unfolded not like a roaring wave, but like a tide that has been rising so gently that you only notice when the shore has entirely disappeared beneath it. On that day, Grow a Garden became the first Roblox game ever recorded to exceed 5 million concurrent players. This number, vast enough to fill entire imagined landscapes, stood in quiet contrast to the game's simple mechanics. It was not speed, or explosions, or competitive fervor that drew these millions together, but the calm rhythm of planting, waiting, and harvesting. Each player, in their own quiet space, contributed to that immense figure without any need to interact with them all at once. The 5 million were not a crowd, but a collection of solitary gardeners, each moving at their own unhurried pace, as if the world had agreed, for just a moment, that growth could be a shared, but still deeply personal, act. This milestone did not disrupt the game's gentle cadence. Carrots still sprouted at the same rate. Shekels still appeared as slowly as ever. And the offline gardens continued their unseen work, untouched by the noise of achievement. It was proof that even in the vast and fast-moving ocean of online worlds, something unassuming and slow could still draw the gaze of millions, inviting them to pause, breathe, and participate in a quiet, digital garden that grows in harmony with time itself. On May 18, 2025, the Blood Moon update quietly entered the world of Grow a Garden, not with a clamorous bang, but like a soft shift in the evening sky's hue, gently casting new shadows over the familiar landscape. This update, though its name might evoke thoughts of drama and intensity, was introduced with the same unhurried care that the game is known for, adding subtle layers rather than sudden surprises. Instead of jolting the gameplay, it unfolded like a slow, deliberate brushstroke across a canvas, deepening the game's atmosphere while maintaining its calm rhythm. This update nudged the game past its previous boundaries, breaking the record for concurrent users once held by Blox Fruits, another well-loved Roblox title. The ascent was steady, measured, not a sudden surge but a gentle swell, with each new player stepping softly, as if on moss-covered ground. The community's growth felt like a whispered invitation, coaxing more gardeners to join in the quiet act of planting and waiting. Those who stayed embraced the update with a peaceful acceptance, appreciating that it honored the game's core ethos of tranquility and patience. The Blood Moon name, while evocative of ominous tides, here became a symbol of transformation without disruption, proof that slow, thoughtful changes could ripple through the vast digital ocean, leaving calm, enduring impressions rather than crashing waves. It was a reminder that even in worlds often dominated by haste and noise, gentle progress remains possible and meaningful. By May 24, 2025, the quiet garden had flourished even further, reaching a milestone of at least 8 million concurrent users, a vast number that spoke of countless individual gardeners scattered across the digital expanse. This was not a roaring crowd but a constellation of solitary players, each nurturing their own small corner of virtual soil with tender patience. The number reflected a sprawling, interconnected mosaic of quiet moments, seeds planted without rush, carrots grown with care, and harvests gathered in a rhythm that echoed the slow turning of seasons. The mechanics of the game remained elegantly simple, allowing growth to proceed naturally whether a player was actively engaged or had stepped away to rest, confident their garden would continue to flourish unseen. In this way, Grow a Garden had blossomed beyond a mere game to become a soothing symphony of patience and nurture, weaving millions of silent acts into a tapestry of steady, reassuring progress. The climb to 8 million was less about sudden leaps and more like the gentle unfurling of new leaves in a vast forest, a slow awakening that invited all who entered to pause, breathe, and partake in a collective quietude. It demonstrated how a space dedicated to calmness and care could not only survive but thrive amidst the frenetic pace of the online world. On the serene morning of May 31, 2025, Grow a Garden welcomed yet another gentle shift in its digital seasons with the arrival of the Busy Bees update. This edition, like a soft breeze stirring the mossy forest floor or the slow flutter of delicate feathers settling on quiet earth, introduced new elements that blended seamlessly into the game's patient rhythm. The update's name evokes the subtle hum of nature's tireless workers, bees, known not for haste but for their steady, purposeful labor. Much like those tiny creatures gathering nectar drop by drop, the update quietly nurtured the game's growth rather than demanding sudden bursts of attention. Its effect was profound in its subtlety. That day, the game's concurrent user count gently swelled to over 11.7 million players, a number vast enough to fill imagined glades and groves stretching beyond sight, yet gathered in the soft stillness of shared but separate experiences. This peak was not announced with fanfare or booming trumpets but rather observed with the quiet appreciation of one who notices the gentle unfurling of a fern leaf at dawn. Each of those millions of players, tending their own digital plots, found in the Busy Bees update a new thread woven into the fabric of the game's unhurried life, a detail that enriched the tapestry without disturbing its delicate balance. In the unfolding hours that followed, on June 1, 2025, Grow a Garden received formal recognition for reaching this remarkable milestone: 11,707,128 concurrent users. Such precision in the tallying of players brings to mind the slow, exact turning of gears in an ancient clock, measuring moments not in hurried ticks but in patient, assured rotations. This number, while vast, tells a story not of chaos but of a harmonious assembly of solitary gardeners, each connected by a shared commitment to slow, steady cultivation. The recognition was not a loud proclamation but more a quiet nod, like the subtle nod of leaves in a gentle wind, acknowledging that Grow a Garden had become a space where millions could coexist in peaceful productivity. The game's mechanics remained beautifully consistent, seeds still pushed through pixelated soil with the same unchanging pace, harvests awaited with quiet patience, and the currency, shekels, continued its gentle accumulation, as unhurried and dependable as the slow drip of rain from ancient leaves. This milestone, recorded with exacting care, offered a comforting reminder that in a world often rushing forward, there remains a place where time slows, where growth is not measured in fleeting bursts but in enduring, deliberate steps. Here, amid the buzzing of virtual bees and the tender care of countless players, Grow a Garden had blossomed into a vast sanctuary of calm continuity. On a gentle weekend in early June of 2025, the world of Grow a Garden saw a quietly remarkable moment, a reported gathering of over 9 million concurrent players. This number, measured with the soft precision of a slowly flowing stream, set a new record for the Roblox platform, quietly eclipsing previous milestones without fanfare or haste. Imagine, if you will, a vast mossy forest where each leaf glistens with dew, and each droplet represents a single player, tending to their pixelated patch in calm solitude. The weekend crowd was not a raucous festival but more akin to a gathering of gentle creatures, each moving at their own steady pace, connected only by the shared rhythm of planting and harvesting. Weekends, oftentimes for rest and gentle reprieves, seemed to coax an even larger community into this peaceful digital garden, as if the game's soothing cadence perfectly mirrored the slow unfolding of weekend mornings. The number itself, while impressive in scale, is best appreciated not as a statistic but as a serene symphony of individual moments quietly harmonizing. Players found solace in the game's familiar mechanics, which remained steadfastly unhurried, seeds pushing through the soil, shekels accruing like droplets on a leaf, and offline growth continuing its patient course even as screens dimmed. This record-breaking weekend quietly affirmed that vast numbers can coexist without noise, united by the simple, enduring art of patience. As the calendar turned to June 14, 2025, Grow a Garden received another gentle nudge forward with the arrival of the Working Bees update. The name conjures images of tireless, purposeful insects, whose slow but steady labor shapes entire ecosystems. This update, true to the game's spirit, did not rush or jolt players but instead expanded the digital garden's quiet complexity, inviting players to engage with new features that blended naturally into the existing flow. The result was a new crescendo, not one of explosive excitement, but of gradual accumulation, as the game's concurrent user count rose above 16 million, surpassing even the highest records held by Fortnite, a titan of the gaming world. This milestone, reached not by noise or haste but by steady, persistent growth, feels more like the slow unfurling of ancient leaves in a shadowed grove than a sudden burst of sunlight. The players, a vast collective of solitary gardeners, continued their personal rhythms without haste or competition, united by a shared commitment to nurture and patience. The currency of shekels continued its gentle trickle, and the offline gardens grew quietly, untouched by the clamoring rush of achievement. This moment underscored a beautiful truth, that in a world often driven by speed and spectacle, there remains a place where quiet persistence and steady care can draw millions, each tending their own plot in the timeless dance of growth. On June 17, 2025, the gentle ripple of Grow a Garden's quiet success reached the pages of the New York Times, where it was softly noted as a key contributor to Roblox's overall bookings growth. This acknowledgement, like a slow beam of morning light filtering through the leaves of an ancient forest, cast a warm glow on the game's steady rise within the sprawling ecosystem of Roblox. Rather than a sudden blaze of fame, the game's impact was more like the accumulation of soft rain, nourishing the soil beneath, enabling new growth in ways both subtle and profound. The article did not shout or demand attention, instead, it measured the influence of Grow a Garden with patient curiosity, recognizing that the game's vast and steadily growing user base was quietly helping to sustain the financial health of a digital platform that hosts millions of worlds. The connection between such a serene game and the complex currents of the gaming economy seemed almost poetic, a reminder that even the calmest gardens can feed entire forests. Readers were invited to consider how a game centered on patient planting and nurturing, rather than frantic competition, could resonate so deeply with players and contribute to the broader ecosystem's vitality. In this way, Grow a Garden emerged not only as a digital refuge but as a quietly influential force, its success woven gently into the fabric of Roblox's expanding landscape. Just a few days later, on June 21, 2025, the game blossomed further with the release of the summer update, an addition that coincided with the game reaching approximately 21 million concurrent users. This staggering figure, vast as a sun-dappled forest stretching beyond the horizon, reflected a community that had grown both in size and in shared experience, yet maintained its peaceful individuality. The update, like a soft summer breeze, introduced new features that enhanced the game's familiar, unhurried rhythm without disturbing its delicate balance. Players found new reasons to linger in their virtual gardens, each tending their digital soil with the same slow, careful attention as before, now accompanied by fresh elements that whispered promises of gentle change. The mechanics that allowed offline growth and the steady accumulation of shekels remained untouched, preserving the game's core essence of patience and nurturing. The surge to over 21 million concurrent users was not a frantic stampede but a quiet gathering, an assembly of solitary gardeners, each moving in their own time, yet collectively shaping a vast, shared sanctuary of calm. This milestone whispered that even amidst the ceaseless rush of the online world, a place dedicated to slow, deliberate growth could thrive, inviting millions to partake in the soothing cadence of planting, waiting, and harvesting, like the slow turning of seasons in a sunlit glade. In the late days of June 2025, a gentle yet notable announcement came from the Associated Press, quietly reporting that Grow a Garden had reached a remarkable peak of 21.6 million concurrent users. This milestone, larger than the bustling crowds recorded for Fortnite, was celebrated not with blaring headlines or fanfare but with the soft, steady applause of a cultural sensation unfolding in serene slow motion. One might imagine a vast forest canopy at dusk, where countless leaves shimmer with dew, each representing a single player, each tending their own peaceful patch beneath the sprawling branches of this digital ecosystem. This number was more than a statistic, it was a testament to the game's gentle appeal, a slow bloom of community and patience thriving against the more frenetic pace of many other online worlds. The recognition by such a respected news source lent a quiet gravitas to what had been, until then, a steadily growing but unassuming garden in the vast landscape of gaming. This was a moment of acknowledgement, of a widespread realization that the appeal of Grow a Garden transcended mere numbers, touching something deeper in the hearts of millions. It was hailed as a cultural sensation, not because it shouted for attention, but because it offered a rare refuge, a place where growth, patience, and quiet care were celebrated as virtues in themselves. Here, in this space, millions moved in harmony, each planting, nurturing, and harvesting at their own gentle pace, woven together by the slow rhythms of nature mirrored in pixels. A few days later, on July 5, 2025, the game invited players into a new chapter with Update 1.13.0, which introduced the prehistoric event. This update felt like stepping softly back in time, to an era when the world itself was slower, dominated by ancient rhythms and creatures that moved with ponderous grace. The addition of a new seed, along with new pets and other subtle features, offered fresh invitations for players to deepen their connection with the garden's patient unfolding. The new seed symbolized a return to origins, a reminder that growth is an ancient act, repeated across millennia in countless soils and climates. The pets, gentle companions roaming the pixelated fields, brought a quiet liveliness to the experience without disturbing its calm. They buzzed or fluttered gently, much like the bees that had long been part of the garden's life, adding layers of slow-moving activity that felt natural and unhurried. This event did not demand rapid action or frantic clicks. Instead, it invited players to explore, observe, and appreciate the slow dance of life, both past and present. The prehistoric event reinforced the game's enduring theme, that time itself is a patient gardener, nurturing every seed with care and allowing every player to partake in a tranquil journey through growth, companionship, and the steady unfolding of digital life. On July 6, 2025, a soft breeze of refinement swept through Grow a Garden with the release of Update 1.13.1. This update, much like a gentle gardener tending to delicate shoots after a rain, focused on quietly correcting several small but meaningful issues that had crept into the game's experience. Among these fixes was the adjustment of pumpkin stock, ensuring that this humble harvest could be gathered and enjoyed without interruption. Pumpkins, those slow-growing orbs of autumnal comfort, symbolize patience and steady care, and so their proper availability was crucial to maintaining the game's unhurried charm. Alongside this, the update addressed problems with offline growing, a feature essential to the game's promise that time's quiet passage continues even when players step away. This fix restored the serene trust players place in the unseen progression of their gardens, much like knowing that the sun still rises even behind clouds. The prehistoric quest, introduced recently with its ancient allure, also saw some gentle tuning. Issues that might have interrupted a player's tranquil exploration were quietly mended. Even the Fossilite shovel prompt, a subtle nudge guiding patient gardeners in their questing, was refined to better blend into the game's soft atmosphere. These fixes were not grand announcements but small, thoughtful touches, like polishing the surface of a well-worn stone path to ensure each step is steady and sure. This update preserved the game's essence, a space where gentle patience and meticulous care create a digital garden that breathes and grows with quiet dignity. Just 2 days later, on July 8, 2025, the developers released Update 1.13.2, addressing a visual bug that had caused some players to see the prehistoric quest marked as completed when it was not. This correction, though seemingly minor, was significant in maintaining the gentle integrity of the player's journey. Imagine a slowly turning gear in a softly ticking clock. If one cog slips even slightly, the whole mechanism can falter, disrupting the measured pace of time. Here, the visual bug was that small slip, potentially unsettling the steady flow of progress that Grow a Garden so carefully nurtures. By fixing this, the update restored harmony between the player's experience and the game's quiet narrative, ensuring that each quest's completion felt earned, authentic, and gently satisfying. Players could continue their prehistoric adventures with serene confidence, knowing their progress reflected true care and attention rather than accidental confusion. This attention to detail, a hallmark of the game's evolution, highlights the devotion to creating a space where every pixel and prompt respects the slow rhythm of growth. In the world of Grow a Garden, even bugs are met with patient correction, ensuring that the tranquil dance of planting, waiting, and harvesting continues unbroken, like the slow unfurling of a fern in a shaded glen. On July 9, 2025, Grow a Garden received Update 1.13.3, a gentle yet significant refinement that re-enabled pet gifting and addressed several small bugs quietly lingering in the game's corners. The act of gifting pets, though simple, carries a profound sense of community and connection within this softly glowing garden. Pets themselves are like fluttering feathers or mossy patches, small companions that add life to the digital soil without disrupting its peaceful rhythm. To gift a pet is to extend a gentle hand, a quiet gesture of kindness that resonates in the slow, patient world of Grow a Garden. Restoring this feature brought back an intimate thread of interaction, allowing players to share a bit of their tranquil universe with friends and fellow gardeners. Alongside this warm restoration, the update tackled minor bugs, those tiny imperfections that, like a pebble in a well-worn path, can disrupt the smooth journey if left unattended. These fixes ensured that the game's steady cadence remained uninterrupted, preserving the slow, soothing flow of planting, tending, and waiting that players cherish. There was no rush or clamor, just the patient work of tending to details, like a careful gardener pruning branches to help new shoots reach the light. This update reflected a quiet devotion to crafting a world where every feature, no matter how small, supports a calm, continuous experience. On the very same day, the thoughtful observers at PC Gamer offered a quietly remarkable note on Grow a Garden's rapid operational scale. They highlighted how the game's growing complexity and seamless experience owed much to a dedicated events team, working steadily behind the scenes. This team, much like the slow-turning gears of an intricate clockwork, orchestrated the unfolding updates and events with careful precision and unhurried care. Their work ensured that each new addition, be it seasonal updates, special events, or bug fixes, slipped into place without jarring the game's peaceful rhythm. PC Gamer's recognition served as a soft acknowledgement of the invisible hands that cultivate not just the virtual gardens, but the entire ecosystem supporting millions of gentle players. The scale of operations, while vast in scope, remained a tapestry woven from quiet, thoughtful contributions rather than loud announcements. In highlighting the events team's efforts, the article whispered a reminder that behind every serene garden lies a network of patient caretakers, each tending their part with the same loving attention players give their digital crops. This delicate balance between growth and care, expansion and preservation, allowed Grow a Garden to flourish as a vast sanctuary of calm, even amidst the often noisy, frenetic world of online gaming. On July 12, 2025, Grow a Garden embraced a gentle blossoming with Update 1.14.0, an addition that unfolded slowly like the unfurling of a new leaf in a mossy forest bathed in dappled sunlight. This update introduced pet mutations, new seeds and items, as well as the enigmatic primal egg and the archaeologist crate, each element woven carefully into the garden's soft and steady rhythm. The pet mutations brought subtle changes to the faithful companions, as if a quiet breeze had whispered new patterns into their wings or fur, allowing them to carry fresh whispers of life through the pixelated foliage. These mutations were not wild or sudden transformations but delicate evolutions, a reminder that even in worlds designed for calm, change is an ever-present, gentle force. New seeds and items extended the palette of growth, inviting players to nurture unfamiliar plants with the same patient care that had long defined the garden's character. The primal egg, mysterious and slow to reveal its secrets, seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of an ancient forest, promising discoveries that could only be uncovered with time and tender attention. The archaeologist crate, meanwhile, offered a treasure trove of hidden artifacts, linking the present garden with echoes of the past, an invitation to pause, reflect, and appreciate the layers beneath the surface. Together, these additions deepened the game's quiet complexity, enriching the gentle pace that millions had come to cherish. On this very day, social platforms such as Fandom and Twitter recorded a new peak of simultaneous players, 21,461,453 souls quietly tending their individual gardens, each contributing to a collective landscape vast as a shadowed woodland. This number, so precise and expansive, invites us to imagine a slow, endless procession of footsteps padding softly across forest floors, each step a gardener's careful act of sowing or harvesting. It is a crowd unlike any other, not a throng clamoring in unison, but a constellation of solitary gardeners moving at their own pace, bound together by a shared love of slow growth and quiet nurturing. The record was not shouted from rooftops but observed with the same gentle awe one might feel witnessing morning mist curling softly around ancient tree trunks. Here was proof that a tranquil space, dedicated to patience and steady care, could gather millions without haste or frenzy. The number speaks less to a spectacle than to a steady, enduring rhythm, a symphony of quiet moments unfolding across the digital world. This milestone, gently etched in the fabric of Grow a Garden, reminds us that growth, when given space and time, can become a vast and comforting community, quietly thriving in the hushed beauty of slow, deliberate progress. On July 19, 2025, Grow a Garden unfolded a new chapter with the release of Update 1.15.0, gently ushering in the Zen event. This event arrived like a soft whisper through a moss-covered glade, inviting players to immerse themselves in a world where tranquility reigns supreme. The update introduced various new seeds and items, each carefully crafted to deepen the game's already soothing atmosphere. These seeds were not hurried offerings but slow promises of growth, meant to be planted with care and nurtured over time, much like the delicate unfurling of fern fronds in a shaded forest floor. Items added to the garden's inventory whispered subtle enhancements rather than loud disruptions, perfectly in tune with the game's slow cadence. The Zen event itself was an invitation to pause, to breathe gently, and to embrace the quiet art of tending without rush or expectation. It transformed the garden into a sanctuary of calm, where every seed planted echoed the soft pulse of nature's slow rhythms. Players could feel themselves drifting into a slower pace, their digital plots becoming little oases of peace amidst the noisy clatter of everyday life. This event didn't shout or demand, instead, it offered a gentle, steady embrace that encouraged presence and patience, aligning beautifully with the game's core spirit of unhurried growth. The very next day, on July 20, 2025, Update 1.15.1 arrived like a careful hand smoothing the surface of still water. It introduced the Tranquil radar, a new feature designed to auto-collect resources, allowing gardeners to rest more fully while their plots continued their quiet productivity. This innovation felt like the slow turning of a gear, unseen yet vital, removing small burdens without disturbing the game's gentle rhythm. Alongside this, the Zen shop opened its doors, offering players a serene marketplace where new items could be acquired with ease, reinforcing the event's peaceful theme. Visual improvements accompanied these additions, refining the garden's soft palette and enhancing the overall feeling of calm that pervades the game's world. Minor fixes also attended to the smallest details, like the careful pruning of a bonsai tree, ensuring that every aspect of the experience remained smooth and inviting. Together, these changes deepened the garden's invitation to slow down, breathe gently, and find comfort in steady, unobtrusive progress. The Tranquil radar in particular offered a subtle relief, an encouragement to trust in the quiet unfolding of growth, even when one's attention drifts elsewhere. With these updates, Grow a Garden reaffirmed its promise as a sanctuary for patient caretakers, a place where every pixel and feature is designed to support the soft, steady pulse of nature's timeless dance. On July 19, 2025, Grow a Garden gently welcomed the Zen event, a tender addition that felt like the quiet unfolding of a morning mist across a mossy woodland. This update, known as 1.15.0, brought with it a collection of new seeds and items, each introduced with the deliberate care of a slow-growing vine stretching toward dappled sunlight. The seeds, varying in type and subtle characteristics, invited players to plant new possibilities, each sprouting at its own steady pace, like the soft rise of ferns or the gentle drip of dew settling on a quiet leaf. These new plants didn't burst forth with urgency, rather, they whispered promises of growth that could only be fulfilled with patience and nurturing hands. Alongside these seeds came an assortment of items, small treasures that added layers of quiet beauty and gentle complexity without disturbing the game's calming flow. The Zen event itself was an invitation to step back, breathe gently, and embrace a deeper sense of stillness amid the digital Earth's patient cycles. Players found themselves wrapped in a peaceful embrace, where the rhythm of planting, waiting, and harvesting became a meditative dance, mirroring the soft pulse of nature's slow heartbeat. This event did not rush its players but invited them to savor the moment, nurturing not just their gardens but also a quiet place within themselves. The entire experience felt like a whispered lullaby, a reminder that growth is not a race but a gentle unfolding, best savored in the company of quiet leaves and soft winds. Arriving quietly on July 20, 2025, Update 1.15.1 brought with it thoughtful enhancements that deepened the Zen event's serene atmosphere. Most notably, the introduction of the Tranquil radar allowed players to auto-collect resources, gently freeing their hands and minds while the garden continued its unhurried work. This feature was like the slow turning of a weathered gear in an ancient clock, unseen but essential, smoothing the flow of time and effort. It allowed gardeners to trust that their crops would be gathered with care even when their attention drifted elsewhere, reinforcing the game's commitment to patient progress. The Zen shop opened its doors alongside this, offering a softly lit marketplace where players could acquire new items that complemented the event's peaceful theme. Visual improvements accompanied these changes, refining colors and textures with a delicate hand, enhancing the garden's overall tranquility. Minor fixes attended to small inconsistencies, like pruning the tiniest leaves to maintain harmony within the garden's ecosystem. Each tweak, no matter how slight, was a loving touch designed to preserve the steady pulse of growth and rest. Together, these updates encouraged players to lean into the game's unhurried rhythm, to breathe deeply, to relax, and to let the garden's gentle magic unfold in its own perfect time. In the quiet spaces between clicks and harvests, Grow a Garden continued to cultivate a sanctuary where patience blossoms, and every moment is a soft step on a winding, moss-covered path. On July 20, 2025, the Zen update unfurled further layers of calm within Grow a Garden, gently introducing tranquil mutation pets, serene cosmetics, and the intriguingly named radioactive carrot, a seed that brought with it the curious phenomenon of radiation mutation. These additions were woven into the game's peaceful fabric like soft petals falling slowly onto quiet earth. The tranquil mutation pets were delicate companions, their changes subtle and soothing, as if nature herself had taken a slow breath and whispered new patterns into their forms. These mutations did not rush or disrupt, rather, they added a gentle variety, like the shifting hues of a twilight sky or the slow dance of leaves drifting on a breeze. The serene cosmetics offered players new ways to adorn their gardens and avatars, not with flashy bursts or bold colors, but with soft tones and textures that enhanced the tranquil atmosphere, like mist settling over a still pond. Then there was the radioactive carrot, an unexpected but oddly fitting addition. This seed introduced a slow, mysterious mutation process inspired by radiation, a quiet nod to the strange and gentle transformations that can arise even from unseen forces. It reminded players that growth is not always predictable, sometimes it's the subtle, almost imperceptible changes that add depth and wonder to the garden's endless story. Together, these features deepened the game's invitation to embrace patience and curiosity, encouraging players to watch closely, listen carefully, and appreciate the slow rhythms of change, even when they unfold in the softest whispers. Just days later, on July 26, 2025, Grow a Garden welcomed a moment of gentle excitement with the celebrity guest event featuring Travis Kelce and Jandal, the latter being a key figure in the game's development. Unlike the usual tranquil pace, this event introduced a mild weather chaos administered by the game's team, stirring the garden with soft breezes and drifting petals that moved unpredictably but never harshly, more like a playful dance than a storm. This temporary shift in the garden's atmosphere offered a rare chance for players to experience movement and change without breaking the overall calm that defines the game. Alongside this, the shop experienced carefully timed restocks, presenting players with fresh items to discover at their leisure. The live takeover by the event admins added a subtle human touch, a reminder that behind the softly glowing pixels are people gently guiding the garden's growth and evolution. Rather than disrupting the serenity, these happenings were woven seamlessly into the garden's ongoing story, like clouds drifting slowly across a quiet sky or the measured ticking of a slowly turning gear. The event was an elegant balance of novelty and repose, offering players a brief departure from the usual stillness without rushing them back into haste. It was a soft reminder that even within a world dedicated to patient growth, moments of light-hearted interaction can bloom, enhancing the collective experience while preserving the garden's enduring sense of peace. On July 26, 2025, Grow a Garden unfolded the next gentle chapter of its slow-moving story with Update 1.16.0, introducing the new Corrupted Zen event, a delicate and intriguing evolution within its tranquil world. This event brought with it the Elder Strawberry, a subtle but meaningful addition that seemed to embody both the wisdom of age and the soft complexity of slow growth. The term corrupted might suggest disturbance or haste, but here it is more like a shadow passing softly through a quiet glade, adding depth without harshness. The Elder Strawberry, with its quietly mysterious qualities, became a symbol of gentle change that invites players to explore a slightly different facet of their patient garden. It was neither a rush toward chaos nor a stark break from serenity, but a slow unfurling of new layers, like the gradual darkening of twilight, where the familiar meets the unknown in peaceful coexistence. The Corrupted Zen event invited players to consider growth in shades beyond simple green, to appreciate transformation not only in light but in shadow. This event deepened the garden's narrative, reminding gardeners that every leaf and fruit carries stories of endurance, adaptation, and time's quiet hand. Players were encouraged to tend these new elements with the same patient care as before, allowing even the corrupted to become part of the soothing, slow rhythm that defines Grow a Garden. As the calendar turned to August 1, 2025, the game's gentle ascent through the digital landscape reached a remarkable milestone. Grow a Garden surpassed 21 billion visits and 6.6 million favorites on Roblox, a vast number that unfolds like the endless rings within the trunk of a grand, ancient tree. Each visit is a soft footprint left in the digital soil, each favorite a quiet nod of appreciation, accumulating slowly and steadily over time. This achievement marked Grow a Garden as the fastest game on the platform to reach 1 billion visits, a record not broken with noise or haste, but with the slow, sure accumulation of millions of patient players tending their own corners of this virtual world. The milestone is less about sudden fame and more a testament to enduring appeal, a warm, steady glow sustained by the game's calming mechanics and thoughtful design. The sheer scale of visits speaks to a shared human desire for gentle spaces where growth is a slow unfolding, where progress is measured in steady breaths and quiet moments. In surpassing these numbers, Grow a Garden quietly affirmed that a sanctuary built on patience and care can thrive in the vast, bustling forest of online gaming. It stands as a living mosaic of millions of tranquil moments, each one adding to the tapestry of slow, deliberate nurturing that defines the game's enduring charm. On August 2, 2025, Grow a Garden quietly expanded its world with Update 1.17.0, a soft arrival that introduced the trading and cooking event. This addition gently wove new systems into the game's slow tapestry, like the gradual blooming of rare flowers in a shaded forest. The cooking system invited players to explore the art of preparation and patience, combining ingredients harvested from their gardens into nourishing recipes, each one unfolding at its own leisurely pace. The process of cooking here was not rushed but a slow alchemy, a gentle transformation akin to leaves slowly changing color beneath the watchful eye of an autumn sky. Trade tickets appeared as subtle tokens of exchange, encouraging a quiet economy where players could share their carefully grown treasures with one another. This exchange was less about frantic bartering and more about a soft ritual of mutual giving, like the passing of a warm scarf between friends on a cool evening. The introduction of gourmet egg pets added a layer of delicate companionship, these pets carrying an air of refined patience and slow delight, perfectly suited to the tranquil garden's atmosphere. New cosmetics accompanied these features, enhancing the visual harmony without breaking the calm. Together, these elements invited players to savor new experiences without haste, deepening the immersive calm glow a garden is known for. The event was not a sudden burst of activity but a slow, thoughtful enrichment of the game's gentle world, where every ingredient, trade, and pet moves in quiet step with the steady pulse of nature's unfolding story. A week later, on August 9, 2025, Update 1.18.0 arrived, bringing with it a few more intriguing layers to the garden's soft narrative. This update introduced the rat connoisseur and lobster thermidor, curious additions that seemed like whimsical delicacies, placed carefully on the garden's tranquil table. The rat connoisseur was a character or feature that added subtle depth and gentle charm, inviting players to appreciate even the smallest, often overlooked parts of their digital world. Lobster thermidor, a classic culinary dish, appeared as a new recipe or item, blending the real world's slow, careful cooking traditions into the game's patient rhythm. These additions were never meant to rush or disrupt but to remind players that beauty and calm can be found even in the most unexpected corners. Alongside these culinary flourishes came the mention of Albert admin abuse, a phrase that might hint at playful or controlled interventions by the game's administrators. Yet, even this element unfolded not with harshness but with a soft hand, like a breeze shifting fallen leaves gently rather than scattering them wildly. This part of the update was a quiet acknowledgement that behind the serene surface, caretakers monitor and guide the garden's well-being, ensuring that its slow-moving harmony is preserved. Together, these new features added texture and nuance to the game's ongoing story, a story where patience, subtlety, and gentle stewardship are always at the heart of growth and discovery. In a quietly significant moment, though the exact date slips gently into the soft folds of memory, Grow a Garden introduced pets, those small, charming companions like monkeys and busy bees, through the familiar but unhurried mechanism of loot boxes. These loot boxes, much like little wooden chests tucked beneath an ancient oak, contained surprises that unfolded slowly, without rush or clamor. The monkeys and busy bees became gentle helpers, offering passive perks that quietly enhanced the gardener's experience. Their presence was never intrusive but instead felt like the soft hum of bees in a sun-dappled glade, working diligently without disturbing the peace. The monkeys might be imagined as playful yet patient creatures, scampering through the digital foliage with ease, their small movements blending seamlessly into the garden's calming rhythm. Busy bees, named with the kind of gentle irony only a slow game could afford, buzzed softly as they helped gather resources or tended to the crops, their contributions subtle but steady. These pets were not flashy mascots or frantic helpers but companions that moved with the measured pace of the garden itself, reinforcing the game's theme of slow, rewarding progress. Each new pet was an invitation to watch and appreciate growth from a softer perspective, encouraging players to settle in and enjoy the quiet company of these tiny caretakers. In time, the garden's evolving life took another gentle turn with the introduction of pet mutations and multipliers, an addition that deepened the relationship between players and their tranquil companions. Mutations brought subtle visual changes and enhancements, transforming the pets in ways that were more like the shifting hues of a shaded forest canopy than sudden, bright flashes. These mutations were delicate, almost imperceptible shifts that added layers of charm and uniqueness, much like how a moss-covered rock slowly changes shape over years beneath quiet rain. Multipliers, meanwhile, boosted the value of fruits and other harvests, rewarding patience and steady attention with a soft amplification of effort. These boosts did not shout or race ahead, they whispered promises of gentle abundance, like a slow trickle swelling into a calm stream. The combination of mutations and multipliers encouraged players to cherish their pets not just as idle decorations but as evolving partners in the garden's steady rhythm. The evolving appearances and the quiet enhancement of rewards created a loop of patient care and gentle growth, reinforcing the core message that progress need not be hurried to be meaningful. Together, these features wove another layer of slow complexity into Grow a Garden, nurturing a space where every leaf, every pet, and every drop of harvest moves in harmony with time's soft, steady hand. In a soft, unfolding moment whose exact date rests gently in the quiet archives of time, Grow a Garden reached a remarkable milestone, the most visits in one single day, totaling a staggering 482,254,488. This immense number, though vast beyond casual imagining, moves through the world of digital space like a gentle tide washing over smooth pebbles on a quiet shore. Each visit, a soft footprint left upon the garden's tranquil soil, represents a solitary gardener pausing for a moment, tending their pixelated patch with patient hands. It is tempting to imagine these hundreds of millions not as a rushing crowd but as countless gentle whispers, each one part of a vast chorus singing the same lullaby of slow growth and quiet care. This number is not a sudden explosion, but rather a steady accumulation, like countless leaves drifting slowly from high branches to rest upon soft earth. The day's visitors came from all corners, yet none disturbed the calm. Instead, they wove together a vast, peaceful mosaic of shared, patient experience. The sheer scale of this digital visitation is a testament to the game's serene appeal, a sanctuary where even hundreds of millions can quietly coexist, moving in harmony with the gentle rhythms that Grow a Garden so lovingly cultivates. Stretching further into a week whose dates have melted softly into the past, Grow a Garden quietly amassed an even more astounding total, 2,052,822,520 visits. This number unfolds like the rings of a great ancient tree, each ring representing not hurried growth but the patient passing of time, marked by steady, gentle seasons. Over these days, the game welcomed more than 2 billion moments of quiet attention, each one a soft step on the mossy path of digital gardening. The week's visits were not clustered in loud bursts but spread like soft raindrops falling through a calm forest canopy, nurturing each pixel with tender care. This slow rain of players transformed the garden into a sprawling tapestry of solitude and connection, millions of individual gardeners tending their plots independently, yet together contributing to a shared sense of serene purpose. This accumulation reminds us that even in a vast virtual space, where numbers might seem overwhelming, each visit is still a gentle gesture, a patient breath taken in the company of growing things. The game's ability to hold such a vast number of quiet moments speaks to its unique nature, a place where scale and stillness coexist, where growth is measured not by speed but by the endless, soothing unfolding of time itself. On a day wrapped softly in the folds of unrecorded time, Grow a Garden quietly achieved the gentle yet staggering milestone of welcoming 40,861,829 visits in just one single hour. This number, though vast and overwhelming to imagine all at once, moves through the digital landscape like a slow-moving fog rolling across a mossy forest floor, dense yet calm, enveloping the garden without haste or clamor. Each of these millions of visits represents a singular moment of quiet attention, a player stepping into their pixelated patch, planting seeds or watching crops sway in the virtual breeze. Rather than a cacophony, this swell of activity felt like a multitude of soft breaths drawn in unison, a communal yet deeply personal act of tending and waiting. The hour's visitors did not rush the garden's pace, they entered and left with the gentleness of falling leaves, each presence a delicate thread woven into the larger tapestry of slow growth. It is a reminder that even in moments when numbers swell impressively, the heart of Grow a Garden remains a sanctuary of calm, where millions can gather and disperse like soft feathers drifting on a silent wind. This quiet gathering of souls, all drawn to the same slow rhythm, speaks to the profound allure of patience in a world often rushed and noisy. In a similarly unmarked span of time, Grow a Garden earned the distinction of being the first Roblox game ever to reach a series of remarkable concurrent player milestones, 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, and 20 million, all quietly, without fanfare or flash. These numbers might seem like sudden spikes, but in truth, they resemble the slow unfurling of fern fronds in a shaded glen, each milestone a gentle bend forward in the unfolding story of growth. To reach 5 million concurrent players was to gather a vast but still peaceful crowd, each player moving through their garden's calm at their own gentle pace. 10 million came next, doubling the quiet assembly into a sprawling mosaic of individual caretakers, each nurturing their own digital soil. 15 million marked another soft crescendo, a testament not to speed or competition but to the deep, shared enjoyment of steady progress. and then 20 million. This vast gathering was no wild throng but a constellation of solitary gardeners, united in their love for patience and quiet cultivation. These milestones speak to a slow but powerful truth, that growth measured in millions can still be gentle, that even in immense numbers, the garden remains a place of personal peace and slow discovery. The game's pioneering role in these records is less about breaking through with noise and more about blossoming steadily, like a secret glade where time itself seems to take a breath and pause, inviting all who enter to do the same. On a day lost softly in the quiet folds of digital time, Grow a Garden reached a serene yet astonishing peak, 22,032,453 active players at once. This number, while immense, is best imagined not as a bustling crowd but as a vast field of gently swaying wildflowers, each player a single bloom moving softly in the breeze. The sheer scale of this presence does not break the game's tranquil rhythm but instead feels like a great, slow wave of calm that washes gently over pixelated soil. Each gardener tends their own patch with unhurried care, the collective movement forming a quiet symphony of individual patience. It is remarkable to consider that over 22 million souls chose to wander this slow world together, each contributing a silent breath to the shared experience. This peak was not marked by noise or haste, but by a gentle gathering, like a soft fog settling across a vast valley at dawn. The number speaks less to bustling activity and more to a widespread embrace of calm, underscoring how Grow a Garden has woven itself into the rhythms of many lives, offering a slow, reassuring pace in the midst of a hurried world. Somewhere after the soft turning of April's page in 2025, a new chapter quietly began as Do Big Studios acquired a minority stake in Grow a Garden. This development, while gentle in its announcement, brought with it ripples of critique from the community. Do Big Studios became known for a somewhat more aggressive approach to monetization, a method that, to some players, felt less like a soft rain nurturing the garden and more like a sudden gust unsettling delicate petals. The criticism centered on concerns that the slow, patient charm of the game might be overshadowed by pushes toward quicker spending or more persistent in-game purchases. Yet, the essence of the garden remained intact, its calming mechanics and unhurried progression still offering refuge to those seeking a quiet space. The tension between commercial growth and gentle gameplay is not uncommon in worlds where calm meets commerce, and here it played out like the quiet negotiation of sunlight filtering through a dense canopy, sometimes diffused, sometimes more direct. Despite the murmurs, the garden continued to grow, rooted in the patient care of its creators and players alike, weathering the subtle storms with the resilience of moss clinging steadfastly to ancient stones. By June of 2025, the surge in Grow a Garden's popularity had blossomed into a significant factor in Roblox's overall bookings growth, a soft, steady contribution rather than a sudden spike. This growth was like a slow river steadily feeding into a larger lake, expanding the platform's reach and gently raising the waters for all who dwelled there. The game's calming mechanics and immense player base created a dependable foundation, a slow but certain pulse within the bustling digital ecosystem. Rather than clamoring for attention, Grow a Garden nurtured its space quietly, allowing steady streams of players to drift in and out, each one adding a drop to the growing pond of Roblox's success. This contribution reminds us that sometimes the most profound growth happens not in leaps and bounds but in patient, almost imperceptible increments, like a forest's slow reclaiming of land after a gentle rain. The game's rise thus became a testament to the power of calm persistence, showing that even in the fast-moving world of online entertainment, there is a place where slow and steady truly wins the race. Before we gently close our quiet exploration, let us take a slow, respectful moment to honor the cool creator behind this soothing world, BMW Lux, who, at just 16 years of age, planted the very first seed of Grow a Garden. With unassuming dedication and a patient heart, this young gardener crafted a space where millions now wander softly, tending their virtual soils and watching gentle growth unfold. BMW Lux's vision, delicate yet enduring, reminds us that even the smallest, slowest beginnings can blossom into vast, comforting landscapes. And finally, no one asked for this. And yet, here we are, lingering over the tiny, unexciting details that make Grow a Garden a perfect example of digital stillness. If you picture it now, a virtual garden, each carrot rising slowly from pixelated soil, each shekel slipping gently into your account, then you have understood the heart of this history. And if you have not understood, that is completely fine, for this knowledge is in no hurry to be remembered. If your eyes are closed, if your thoughts are drifting, then my job here is done for today. Thank you for spending this unremarkable moment with me. You have listened to The Sleepy Sloth, where uninteresting things become the softest lullabies.